It looks like I'm a silhouette now in the picture. Oh, it's not even projected here. You guys can't see what I'm seeing. All right. I thought I pressed this button before, but obviously not. Okay, that's much better. Oh, I thought Rebecca, you were here. Okay. I thought I saw you and then I saw you here. I thought, oh, I thought Rebecca was not just online today. So I got to remember, keep in mind the fact that sometimes people in here are also going to be on screen. Helen, yeah, welcome back. Okay. All right. Okay. Great. Great. Okay. So yeah, great. Great. Okay. Chris. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Why don't we do this? Let's go to that link I shared. Okay. Let's just go to that link I shared. Is this being recorded? So that's really cool. Okay. So let's just go to the link I shared on Reddit. Okay. On Reddit. And then you'll see this big program. And what we're going to do is we'll run it. We'll explain bits of it. And then anybody unsure with anything at all, you're just going to be paired up with someone who knows what is going on. Okay. And the goal is at the end of that process is going to be to know what is going on. Okay. So one person has to explain to you. And I got to stay here. Okay. I got to stay here. Is that okay? And it's not just people in class. We'll just pick people anywhere logged in saying, well, I know what's going on. Just, I'm happy to explain to someone else who doesn't know. Right. And if you're both in class, you could just do it, physically, or you could do breakout sessions, breakout rooms in Zoom. Okay. Just pick an online person that you can help out. Oh, I'll assign them. I'll assign them. You don't have to pick. Okay. I'll assign them and say, hey, who knows, who doesn't know? And I'll just pair them up and do it here, or I think it'll be fun. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. How about someone here? Maybe not Ian. Okay. Because you shared last time. How about someone who's just online today? Hey, Kiel, you want to try it out? It's really cool that you have an underscore and all in your name. Is that an effect, or you really have an underscore there? All right. Okay. Cool. I wonder how you would actually put it in and make a name with an underscore now, because you actually have an underscore part of your. How do I increase the brightness of this thing? Okay. Maybe if that's what happens on my Mac screen, if I just set it to maximum brightness, then it has enough of light flowing out of it. At the moment, it's all very dark on my side. It's not worth fiddling with it right now. Okay, all right. So how about someone? Okay, how about someone pick up the screen? Maybe even Caesar. Are you here, Caesar? You're here. Okay. Someone who's not here on Zoom. Megan, how about you? Okay, Megan, how about you pick up the screen and then you can click on the link that I shared on Reddit, and then we'll just go over the code. We'll see what it does. And then we'll say, this is the goal of today. This is what we're going to try and do. Yeah. Okay. That's great. Yeah. The camera angle is all perfect right now. Okay. So all of you, right. Even Junke, right. You got the, camera pointing up at the screen. So make sure you're all front and center on the screen. Hey, yeah. Oh, you're here. On screen or like okay. So you got to angle the screen a bit more. No, I'm, look at the screen. There, there you go. That's much better. Okay. So now your face is on the screen. Can you see it? You should. No, by the way, you should be able to look at the screen. Better? How come you don't have gallery view? Yeah, gallery view. And get rid of this and go gallery view. All right, okay. So this is the exact same thing I'm showing here. So I think this is much better actually. You got much better resolution. Yeah, and you can also incorporate. So if you look at this now, this is where you are. That's Megan. Yeah, there you are. Previously, it was just pointing on the screen. I've got the. So this is great. Everybody just make sure you're front and square on the screen. And I see an icon there. Who is this icon? Sahil. Sahil, you too. All right. And all right. Kaden, switch on the camera, okay? Both of you. Right? And also Dylan. Who's Dylan? I don't even see him here. I'm joining right now. You're joining right now? Okay. Yeah. And then switch on your camera. Great. Okay. And who's going to take the screen right now? And I think it's going to be Megan. Okay. Megan, just go to share your screen. Make sure you go to a, private window. Is that a Mac or a PC? Mac or a PC? I'm going to stay here. Okay, sorry. I shouldn't keep wandering around. Yeah, is that a Mac or a PC? By the way, we got to make sure. Yeah, don't use chat. Just, yeah, speak. I can hear you.
Which link am I sharing?
If you go to Reddit, oh, actually, you know what? There's like 10 posts after that now. It's called, I think that it says code to study for today's class. I think that's what the title is.
It's in chat. I just put it in chat.
Thanks. Who said that?
Me.
Yeah, all right. So Julian is going to paste it in chat. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Oh, Raj also did that. So once you go to that link, just okay. So click on that blue this thing here. I can't. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. That's fantastic. Yeah, click that. Okay. That also. Okay. All right. So this is the program, and this is largely the program we already wrote, like the program that Ian wrote the other day. You know, we put in a lot of comments. I just went in and filled it in because we already knew what the hell was going on. It's like 1 or 2 lines. So I just went in and put those in. What we can do now is we can spend a little bit of time just making sure that we understand what the hell the program does. It's just like 100 lines now, but you'll see that most of it is comments right now, right? Because we're stuck in a lot of comments. They're like 20 lines of code, but even though it's 20, some of it is tricky code, especially, I've used something called a ternary operator. It's a really fun operator to use, and we don't have to use it. We can use if statements, but it's fun to know about the ternary operator, especially because it's going to be in the midterm too. It's not because of that, because the ternary operator operators, in my opinion, many cases allow you to express the logic of your program more succinctly. And one of the advantages of being able to express the logic succinctly is that you'll be more easily able to spot logic bugs, okay? If your logic is spread out over 2 pages, you'll have much harder time finding the bug. However, if you just narrow it down and say, well, this part doesn't need to be spelled out in so much detail anymore, so I'm just going to zip it in like we do in the editors, yeah? And we keep doing that, collapsing that all of the time, then we can say, we can grok the logic of this complex module. But if you look at it end to end, it looks like intractable. And so I don't know how we got started talking about that, but that's essentially what we're going for. We're just going to go through these things and say, it's a ternary operator. It's going to be important, not just from the perspective of the test, but it is going to be, and you have to practice a lot, okay? So many times you'll write if statements, you'll write some, logical structures. It may be totally worth your while, okay? Totally worth your while. Even if, you're not going to get points or anything out of it, maybe you'll get a Reddit post out of it. You make an experiment and share it on Reddit. Interesting observation. That's really cool. I don't know if you're going to get anything more out of it rather than just exposure to this, surface or this, multidimensional surface called logic, and from a different perspective. And so you can get to form a very tight notion about exactly what the hell things mean. So these constructs, because in 2B and 2C, you'll be working on algorithms. And many of these algorithms, even though we're all like totally rational and logical animals, it takes a little while to even understand that it actually works logically. I'm not even talking about empirically, okay? Because, empirical, we got to run the test and say, all right, what are the numbers and so on and so forth, right? I'm just talking about an algorithm. It's not even like a math proof that you can actually follow and, okay, that is all, true and true equals true. Yes, all right? So it's more like an iterative truth. And but to see that it actually does work, it's not obvious at all many times. And unfortunately, we have like at least 3 or 4 algorithms like that. Okay, maybe 3 like that in CS2C. Okay, where the algorithm is not immediately obvious what the hell it does, but if you pour at it long enough, you'll actually know why it works. And we found some algorithms with trees, even vectors, sorting, and so on and so forth. And even bitwise operators. Okay, maybe that's in 2B also. That just give you a different perspective on how you use what you already know to use. Because otherwise, what I find is that many students just get book knowledge and say, well, this is how you use it. Okay, I know enough to pass the test. Yeah, so what? Then you just forget it just as easily. So once you know how to use it, that is, that's what I say, for finding a genius, you just have to, all right, now I have something that is worth polishing. Now I'm going to invest a lot of time in just polishing it. And that just means, well, I found something that could be a really, really good tool for me later on. when I, do some complex data cutting using Python, yeah, or some fancy language that comes up in the future. And you're going to cut some data really, really fine. Like diamond cutters, expert diamond cutters. If I do these two angles, I know exactly what the hell, this data has underneath. Nobody else was able to spot. But if you make these two cuts, I can see it. Okay. Like a pivot table or something like that. And but you'll be able to see that by making these really precise cuts and just by getting really good at saying, I'm just going to keep using these logical constructs again and again. So these tools, these are just tools. We're going to keep using these tools again and again so that you get totally expert at using these. This is like the samurai soldiers, okay? So they have to use the knife or the sword so many times that it just becomes part of their body, right? It does happen. And I don't know, right? So they use it so many times that, unthinkingly, they know exactly where, the tip is in a white arc. That kind of intuition, but it happens over millions and billions of tries like that. But same thing happens anywhere, not just in wielding a sword. I think any field of knowledge or music or something like that you take and you do that repeatedly, you get to appreciate the fine details that you totally previously overlooked. And that really is, I think, what makes an expert. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So in this program, we'll just go line by line, make sure that everybody knows what the hell is going on. But if you run it now, we'll actually see the effect. Okay, all it does is that, we're going to use, actually, let's just make one small change before we run it. And fork the code. Okay, fork this, hit fork this. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Megan. Okay, all right. Now go further down to, it looks like Megan already knows a little bit of programming. Okay, I forgot to put copy that sleep statement. Okay, line 35. Triple click on line 35. It's really cool. I'm able to stand up and code, like, work at a standing desk, because at home I'm usually sitting down and all. It's actually much better, and I can see much better at this angle. I think it's really cool. Yeah, triple click and copy it and put it after I beg your patience. Right? I think there should be one more there. Okay, one more sleep there. Okay. All right. So, and I was thinking, let's make one more change also, but we're going to get to that later. Okay. So what we're going to do is move all of that, the sleep statements and all of that into a new function. And we're going to call that inject suspense, inject_suspense. And all that function is going to do is when you call it inject suspense 5, it's going to go into a loop of 5. And in that loop of 5, each time it's going to print some new message, right? Or maybe even prints the same message saying, hang on, or maybe it's just going to print a countdown, right? Starts inject suspense 5 is a ... 5 ... right? Sleep for a couple of seconds and ... 4 ... And I think we've got a really cool trick for us to make that visual effect happen really nicely. Okay. And we tried that in a previous quarter. Okay. I think a couple of quarters ago, we tried printing C out with a /R instead of a /N. I don't know, right? It's really cool because then you won't go to the next line, you go to the beginning of the same line. It's in Unix-like terminals, not in GUIs. And then if you print the same line over and over again, you can actually change the content on an existing line. It's actually a really cool effect, especially combined with sleep. So we're going to see that, and we'll actually build a game out of it, okay? So I think we'll build a game, and I think we call this game. In fact, I think I know. Erica, or maybe the quarter after, right? Someone actually, I think it was Erica, right? So she implemented a version of this game, and it's on the Reddit, and it's called MFA Heaven, okay? MFA Heaven. MFA stands for multi-factor authentication. And what happens is that, you do all these, set up these login things, and they send you a code to your phone, and the phone, says, okay, the number is 3739745, okay? And you look at it on your phone, and you're so confident about your memory, and you say, I'm not going to write it down anywhere. I look at my phone, I'm just going to remember it in my head, I'm going to type it into my computer. And how many times have you done that and got it exactly right? One in, 10 times, maybe I get it wrong. So this game is actually just playing that. Okay, and it's a really cool game. I actually love playing it. Okay, I played it at least 4 or 5 times after she wrote it. We're going to try and implement it today. All it's going to do is it's going to show you a random number, which we'll pick using rand. Now, anything about what I say today. If it's not...
Professor.
Yes.
Yeah, you were off screen for a good while, so.
Thank you so much. Hey, who yanked me back? Thank you. Right? Yeah, please. Hey, Justin. Not like anyone. Okay, not just Justin. So anyone, if I'm just off screen, just let me know. Yeah, so that's a disadvantage of standing up instead of sitting down. Okay, so I tend to drift. But as long as people draw me back, it'll happen less and less frequently. And then I'll just be anchored here. Yeah, is that okay with all of you? If I just keep wandering, just let me know to come back here. Because you guys won't know because you can look at me. But if you're looking at the screen, I would not be in that window. All right, okay. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Also the MFA heaven, right? Well, we'll get to that as soon as we finish this. Okay, this is going to be like super simple. We'll be done with the one first, hopefully at the end of the first hour, we should be done with make a name. Okay, so what that's going to do is it'll just pick a random number. It'll show the number to the user and say, you can look at this number for 5 seconds and then we'll have a sleep. Okay, and after 5 seconds, you're just going to print a /R, go to the beginning of the line, print lots of spaces so that number is not disappeared from your screen. Okay, and then you're going to say, do you remember the number? Type it in now. Okay, and then if and they type in a number and you can compare it with the original number because it just disappeared from the screen. You know what it is. And if they get it right, and you say you got it right. If they get it wrong, you didn't get it right, right? So I think it'd be really cool. And I think she that is the version that she developed. It's called MFA Heaven because you go and play it just to get sharper and sharper at remembering the 6-digit numbers. Okay, it doesn't have to be 6-digit numbers. I think there's a student from Pali. Okay, Pali senior. I think her name was Hannah. Okay, I forgot her last name. I think her name was Hannah, and she was a junior or senior at Pali. And she actually implemented a much nicer, well, not much nicer, much different game than Erica. And you're all going to do this, okay? Your own versions. And she made a version of, remember the string, and it's just not just numbers. It has numbers and letters in it, and in a certain order and all. It's really fun. People just, different people took it in different directions. So each one of you is going to do a different thing, just like each one of you is going to do a different thing with make a name now. Okay, so what does this program do? It's very simple. All it does is just prints a suspenseful series of prompts. Yeah, and then after that it says, make a new name. Right, it's a new string new name is make a name. It's going to call a function called make a name, and that function is what you guys are going to implement. Right. So if you scroll up, scroll up or down. Scroll down maybe. Yeah. Okay. So that one. Comment it out. Okay, comment it out. This is a dummy. This is stuff. You can copy it and start from there. Right. The other one is my version of make a name. Further down. Okay. If you uncomment this, you get my version of make a name. And I think it's very similar to Khrushchev's version. What I do is I step through the string one at a time. Okay. So this bit here, line number 80, that is called the ternary operator. Okay. We don't have to use a ternary operator. If you're really curious, after you master the rest of the logic, we'll talk about the ternary operator. It's really simple, right? Right now you say, all I'm doing there is I percent 2. Is that a 0 or not? What does it mean? Is it divisible by 2? If it's divisible by 2, it's an even number, right? If it's not divisible by 2, it's an odd number. And it's 50% chance it could be even or odd. Yes, because of equal distribution. Yes. So I'm just asking that question here. Is it divisible by 2? Right? Remainder 0. Percent 2 equals 0. Question mark. Right? If it is divisible by 2, I do the first part. Okay. If it is not, I do the second part. The first part just evaluates, my new name of I is basically the corresponding character in the old name. If it is an odd number, then the new name, that new name character is now, what do I do? Yeah, pick a random vowel. Yeah. And how do I pick a random vowel? I got an array of vowels and I index into the array using a random number whose value is between 0 and the length of the vowels. Okay, so all of those are idioms. Okay, C++ idioms, which are usually not taught in CS2A. And they usually we say, and in fact, it's not required for your CS2A either, that you know these idioms. Okay, but I think the real power of a language or any language, it's not just computing languages, even languages that humans speak. Okay, the real power and the beauty and the flavor of the language is in the idioms that people use. And idioms just don't come by just learning a language and becoming master at it with, Babel speak or something like that. Imbibe the culture and pick up these things, ways of saying things that actually are aesthetically beautiful, but at the same time don't really make sense if you're out of it. So it doesn't make sense to even think more about it. Yeah. So you got to imbibe, I think. And regardless, you don't have to go to a particular culture to imbibe that particular sense of idioms, but the same kind of thing also happens in computing languages. Okay, so if you want to know the power of Python, it's not just know the technicalities of Python, right? So you got to be marinate in the sea of Python for years, along with experts who already know how to do, right? It's no use marinating in the sea of Python with other fools, right? Not fools in the full sense, but fools that lots of people that are not competent in Python, but they say they know Python just because they know Python. Yes, there's lots of people like that. Obviously, any field that you take, right? There will be people that are totally expert, but it is the job of a student, okay, especially new hires, to actually find out the teams that they will be the most they'll find the most productive being part of, okay, because you can be in an easy team where your teammates don't push you, right, and you'll have an easy life. but you're not going to, learn anything new. And every time you learn something new, you feel really good about yourself. Yes. So you got to find a team where, people are always, pushing you. Maybe it feels a little uncomfortable. And so I don't know where I was going with that. So yeah, these idioms. That's why and the reason you have to be that is because you get to interact with experts. I've had the good fortune of interacting with many, really solid experts in my life, and reflecting on my past lives, and what I see as greatly valuable is, not the technical knowledge that I picked up. I did pick up a lot of technical knowledge, but those are things that I could just have picked up from a book or by reading a journal. But after a while, you say, what was really valuable is, particular ways of doing things. Even though you know exactly the most efficient way of doing it, there's a most efficient way of doing something which is also beautiful, right? Because you have, efficiency plus beauty, and just efficiency. Why pick one over the other like that? And so by interacting a lot with people who know what the hell they're doing, and the reason partly is because experts tend to do the same thing over and over again, lots and lots of times, until they get so good at it that they make it interesting by making it beautiful, right? Whatever it is. And these idioms in C++, any language, right? Even English, that's why they're so valuable. And just seek it out, right? And if you go to Google and say, what are the most popular C++ idioms? Yeah, okay, right? I don't think you get a true appreciation of that. But here we introduce a couple, but you have to, at your, whenever you're able to, when you start becoming an intern or when you start working with other, professionals, seek out people who are really solid in the field and just observe them programming. You don't have to be part of their team, but you can look at their code. You can ask them to take a look at your code or rewrite some of your code, okay? And you can look at the way they approach the problem, and you'll see that lots and lots of people do exactly the same things. Even though they're different people, they haven't met each other in life. And that's because, they've all kind of factored out, all the ugly bits, all right? And they, and do things in a certain way because it's kind of works well with our muscles and everything else with, most of humanity. So yeah, so that is the important thing. So take note of these idioms, okay? Even though it's not part of CS2A. The ternary operator will be tested, okay? It'll be tested, but you can just have a technical knowledge of the ternary operator and you'll be good. But in the quest, you have to use it a couple of times, but you don't have to use it, okay? Even in Fibonacci and all these other places, you don't have to use ternary. You can use if statements and get by, okay? But you have to challenge yourself and say, well, I've got it working with the if statement. Now let me change it to ternary operator and see if I still get the trophies. Yeah? How many people try that? So most people, I think, are just happy to get through the quest and, all the way through. Yeah, okay, but you have the opportunity to say, well, I'm not just going to go all the way through. I'm going to try different ways of doing that and see if I can get the trophy in 5 different ways. Yeah. So all of that is cool. So is everybody understand what this particular guy does? Make a name, string name. That is my version. Okay. My version, all it's doing is that it's picking a random vowel. Okay. For every odd character. I%2 equals 0. Yeah. Every even character. Oh yeah. No, every odd character. Okay. Every even character is just being sent right through. This logic is important. Okay. This assignment. If you're unclear about any of these things, you got to ask me, or, okay. And before we, let's say 10 minutes, okay? 10 minutes when I'm pretty sure there's people in this class who know what this program does, okay? I just want to, if you don't understand what the hell is going on, you're just going to, sit together with someone else, okay? Either online or here, okay? So I know there's a bunch of people online. So who would like to sit together? That's all it does, okay? I've given you an overview here, and this is what the program does. In fact, let's run it, okay? Let's run it. Let's run it. Oh yeah, go further down. Go further down. This is one more. Okay, one more. Yeah, it's Krisha's version. This is one that he wrote on the white, on the computer a few days ago. It's exactly the same, right? Except his decision is just based on I%2 equals 0. This is the same thing. Oh, it's exactly the same. Is it the same as before? 50% of the letters. I%2 equals 0. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, it's exactly the same, isn't it? Yeah, 50% of the letters is even and odd. So he exactly did the same thing. In fact, his conditional check was also the same. All right, so further down, random Joe's version. Okay, so this was slightly more complex, okay? Slightly more complex. I just put it in. You just copy this, hack it, okay? For your version. And each one of you is going to develop your own version, either by yourself or with the person that you choose, all right? Or I assign you in the breakout room or here, okay? Each one of you has got to have your own version. Maybe let's say half hour at most, okay, max. And here, what does this one do, right? It basically just rotates all the letters by 1. So if it's A, it goes to B. If it is B, it goes to C. And then if it's Z, it goes to A. That's what that is, okay? If name, square bracket I, double equals Z, then I put it to A, right? If it is lower Z, I put it to lower A. Otherwise, I just add 1 to the ASCII value. So A becomes B, B becomes C, and so on. Does that make sense? Everybody, does it make sense? Yeah. If it doesn't, yeah, during class, right? Next 15 minutes or so, we're just gonna find out how it happens. Okay. All right. So that's all there is. Okay, I shouldn't be drifting. That's all there is. Who is not clear and who is clear? If everybody's clear, we'll go on to implementing the game. Okay. If people are not clear, we're going to assign. Okay. Because lots of people here who know how this works. Okay. And it's not a big deal. And they should be able to explain it to you in 10 minutes or so. Right. I think less than 10 minutes. So we're going to say 10 minutes from now. What time is it now? 6:20. Okay. Until about 6. Yeah, we got until 7:50. Yeah, all right, cool. All right, okay, so yeah, 10 minutes, okay, 10 minutes. We'll say, if anyone who's not clear, we'll just, I'll say, why don't you get into a breakout room, okay, and they're going to explain to you. How is that? Is that okay? Yeah, Jing, good. All right, yeah, all right. Who's not comfortable with anything in this code? Anything in this code, the way the functions are written, or whatever it is. If you're not comfortable, just raise your hand, or say me, right? It's even better. Just say me, and what I'll do is I'll say who's comfortable, right? In fact, I may start with, let's say Chris and Panani and some of the other people can just wander around and see if offer general assistance too. But one of the other students in class, who is comfortable with it, I'll say, why don't the two of you get into a breakout room, right? And teach each other, all right? Or the one who knows can teach the other person. Yeah. And you can invite any of us, right? Me, any of us, any of your classmates too, into the breakout room with you too. That's fine. Is that a plan? Does it work with everybody? Yeah. I'm not getting any feedback at all. Okay. So Megan shared the screen, but nobody's just talking. Nobody's thumbing up, or what is that? Is that a Zoom user with a thumbs up? Hey, what is your name? You got a Zoom user. It just says Zoom user. What is your name? The guy with the red Mac.
Oh shoot,
Red
sorry, I
Mac?
don't know what's going on with my computer.
Oh, Akash. Is that you, Akash?
Yeah, sorry.
Is your Mac red in color? Is it Mac red in color, or is it light reflecting off it?
That's light reflecting off of my thing. I don't know why my lights are not working. I'm
Oh,
also
I see.
out of the
I
country
couldn't
at the
tell.
moment.
It just said, Akash, right? Are you Akash or Adesh?
I'm Akash.
Akash. Yeah. I remember now. Yeah. Okay. I couldn't tell before because
Yeah.
the lighting. But there should be, easy controls for these, the brightness here. Oh, maybe it's on the, keyboard like they do in a Mac.
Oh yeah, huh? Okay, I'll just max my brightness.
No, not you. My yeah. Why don't they have brightness here on the keyboard here, right on this keyboard? Oh, I don't know. Oh, you mean just switch it off? Oh, that's much better actually. So much better. Yeah. So all that backlight was interfering, and plus, this message is not ours anyway. Yeah, so we don't need the light. Oh, we actually do have a clear screen. It's not like we took up the whole screen. Okay. Well, I don't have to use a screen. I don't have to write on the whiteboard. So tell me, raise your hand if you're not comfortable with any of the code. Okay, any of this code, the whole thing. And Megan can scroll up and down if you ask. Okay, so you can point at that code. Is everybody okay with this code? Are you comfortable enough to just run it and see these? Did we run it at all? Let's run it and look at the result. Okay, let's run it and look at the result. Yeah. Okay. What's your, yeah. All right. So you just type in your name. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any name really. This is Christopher, something like that. Type in anything. Yeah. All right. Okay. So now, all right. So that's the sleep, the first sleep that you put in, Megan. Okay. Yeah. Oh, all right. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's a new name. I see. It's a boring name because, I changed every letter, but you can say I'm going to change every second letter, every third letter. That might actually give you a variation, but it's still, it's recognizable enough to the old name. But the one thing that I suggested was, this program is finished, right? So one of the things you can do is create a new function, right? And you can do this. I'm going to do this now, and then you can, play with this. Yeah, close that. Above make a name. Yeah. No, above random Joe's. No, actually, you know what? Go right to the top. Go right to the top of the file. Yeah. Okay. Above main is actually cool. Yeah. Create a function. All right. So pay attention to the signature and everything. Okay. It's all like super duper important. Say type void create. Yeah. No. Just type on the next line. We'll do the comment later. Okay. So on the next line, say yeah. Great. Thank you, Megan. Okay. So say void right space inject suspense underscore suspense, and then let's parameterize it by all right. So within parentheses, you can say size underscore t, yeah, num times, okay, or something like that, n times or something. Num times. That's great. Okay, yeah, all right. I think that's great. Okay, so and then on the end of it, put a open curly brace. Yeah, enter. Now here, all we're going to do is so this is a loop. We're going to write a very simple loop. Just so say yeah. All right, let's do it this way. Okay, so say while num so within parentheses num times minus is greater than 0. Okay, is greater than 0. Yeah, and then put spaces on both sides of the greater than. Yeah, great. Okay, right. And then to the end of the line, and then put a curly brace. Thank you. Very nice. Okay, so these are also good habits, I think, to put a space before the curly brace. Because there are some it also works sometimes just to put the curly brace right up to the parentheses, but these are some stylistic issues that will actually make your code, I think, optimal in terms of white space versus character, because I think most humans have a preference for a certain character density on screen, right? If there's too many characters, we kind of have a mental block against reading it. If there's too few characters, then also we have a mental block because we have to scroll a lot. So over time, I don't know, decades of computer programmers, I think we've kind of narrowed down into the good part of the bell curve to say this many characters actually works for the most number of people. And I think one of those things that I've seen in lots of good code is the spacing, and it's all consistent. And when the one space actually matters, apparently. I mean, not apparently, but you'll see, right? When because you'll give you're closer to the optimal code density, I think. That is my hypothesis, okay? So here, all we're going to do is print dot. Here's what we'll do, okay? Before the while loop, before your while loop, yeah, inject a line before you on line 24. Go to line 24. Go to line 24 and hit enter. Before at the beginning of line 24, hit enter. Yeah, there say cout beginning starting timer dot and then a new line. Okay, end all starting timer and left two left. Yeah, thank you. What do you call it? Insertion operator. But left shift. Cout left shift, and then within quotes you can say starting timer. We'll call it starting timer. They come up with a more interesting and fun message. Okay. All right. And then dot and then endl after that, and make the capital S also for and then put an endl at the end, left shift endl also. Yeah, space. Does everybody understand what Megan is doing? Yeah, which is stepping through the code. Everybody understand what we're doing? So she's writing a new function called inject suspense, and it says starting timer and while num times greater than yeah. All right. All right. So on the next line, we know it's clear. It's a blank line. Okay, it's a blank line on the next line. And what we're going to do is on the blank line, we're going to print dot. Okay, and then the number. What is it? Num times. Okay, num times, and then dot. Okay. All right. So on the next line, yeah, enter on. Yeah, you're going to say cout. No, inside the while loop. Yeah. So say cout left shift. Dot. Yeah, and then space, and then left shift num times. Now, what is it? Num times. Yeah, num times. No, dot, and then close the quote. Yeah, there you go. Right, and then left shift. Yeah, left shift. Yeah, actually, the space bar actually cool. You can have the space after that. Dots, the 3 dots. Yeah, all right. Yeah, left shift, and then num times. and then now left shift again, and then say, quote, and then space, and then 3 dots. And then after that, hang on, after the 3 dots, you know what? We'll put a quote there. We'll close the quote there. Close the quote, and then left shift. This looks nicer, I think. Put a /R. Okay, /R. This is like super duper careful here. Okay, /R within single quotes. 4 in \R. Okay, and you're going to Google for what's the difference between \N and \R. Okay, historically. /N stands for new line. Okay, /R stands for just carriage return R. Okay, new line N. So /N actually has 2 things in it for most operating systems. Go to the new line and return the carriage to the beginning of the next line. But if you only had /N, which Unix knows how to do, right? /N will just go to the next line. It won't go to the beginning. Yeah. So on Unix-like platforms, the shell catches the /N, which is just one ASCII character, and splits it without you knowing into 2 characters, /R and /N. On Unix and Linux-like systems, the shell, the DOS or whatever it is that you interact with on the command line, even though you hit one character, this thing here, that enter key, only emits ASCII 13 or ASCII 10, which is new line. Okay, so it says go to the next line, but don't go to the beginning of the next line. But in a terminal and so on, when you DOS prompt, when you hit, go to the beginning of the right. Okay, so it actually catches that, and it knows there's a hack. It's a hack. It's a hack built into Windows, Linux, all these operating systems that says when you see that single character, send those 2 things, because historically people have said we need 2 characters. So that's what's going on. But however, we're going to use that to our. You have a question, Jonah?
So like in this case, functionally, what is the difference?
Here, right? Here's functionally what's the difference. It's a fantastic question. Okay, so here's the cool thing, and we're going to leverage that. Okay, and put a semicolon there. Yeah, right. And after the while loop, enter. Okay, and say cout, done with timer. Okay, done with timer, endl, and then return. Yeah. Okay, so here's the effect we're going to see. Now it's going to go. Hang on, sir. Endl /R. Yeah. Okay. All right. So here's what it's going to go to a blank line. So in my mind, this is how it plays out. Okay. Well, proof is in the pudding. We're going to run it and see what the hell happens. Okay. It goes to the next line. Yeah, Raj.
One question I had is, did we define numtimes already? I didn't see it.
Numtimes is a parameter that's passed into us. Yeah. And the cool thing is that the numtimes is not a const parameter, which means we're able to change it. In fact, when it's passed into us on the stack, it's almost identical to a local variable. In fact, what happens is that, architecturally, when you pass a parameter to a function, it is actually pushed on stack. The stack that is primed for you when you enter the function. We'll cover this in week 5, okay? Week 5, we'll talk about functions and how functions work. So the first thing that needs to go on the stack is a return address, because you need to know where to come back. But the second thing that needs to happen on the stack is all the local variables you use in your function. They also need to be put in there, and the pantry need to be stocked. So those also go on the stack. And the parameters you send to the function, they go on the stack too. And that is how you can pass numtimes, and the numtimes can access, and then the function can access numtimes on the stack, just as though it's a local variable. And just like a local variable, you can also tag these functions, these variables, and say that's a constant. Hey, are you on this? Hey, you can come in and sit down if you want. All right. Okay. Cool. All right. So you can tag these parameters too, just like a regular variable, and you can say, my parameter is actually a const parameter, just like a variable. And people think, oh, I got to master 2 different versions of the const keyword, one here and one there, and it means different things. No, at the end of the day, it's the same, right? They're both on the stack of the function. And you can tag either of those as const, meaning that the function can play with those, read but not touch. Yeah, but you can read but not change. Yeah, so that is the const, and you can do that too. So what happens here is that it'll print the 3 things. It'll print 5. Let's say we call it with 5. It prints 5, and then it goes back to the beginning of the same line, and it's going to sleep. Oh yeah. All right, after the cout, we need a sleep too, right? After the cout, put a sleep too on the next line. So it's going to print that, and it's going to sleep for a second. Or sleep for 2 seconds. Okay, sleep for 2 seconds. Yeah, after that, hit enter, sleep 2. Right. So it's going to print the number and sleep for 2 seconds, and then it's going to go to the beginning of the same line, So next time when it prints, it's going to overwrite that number. So we'll see that number change in front of our eyes. So that's the functional effect we're going
Back
for.
to the beginning of the line and like delete everything that was already on the.
Yeah,
line?
let's try it and find out. All right. So it's not going to keep tacking on to the end.
I see.
All right. It's going to go and it's going to overwrite. And I think that's the effect. We can use that in the next class or next week to actually implement some kind of game, right? We have two players, just an ASCII game. You can play on a Linux terminal, okay? Two players, and we get their speeds by the speed they type JK and LK or something like that, okay? And some fixed number. And they start off as star and let's say less than or greater than on two sides of a line. And they march towards each other or some center point. And the first person to hit that is the winner. Right. So you can do that without even using fancy library like curses in Linux and Unix, which let you catch individual keystrokes. We don't have to do that. Yeah, actually, in the previous time we tried it, we tried to do this with, measuring a speed, the speed at which you type two letters really quickly. Okay. I was actually surprisingly different for different students. Okay. And we say, all right, player one, have a go. And they go bam, 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 like that. And player two, have a go, bam, 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 bam. Nobody knows how fast they typed, but then the race plays out. And the two players start here, okay, and their speeds are determined by how fast they type, and then actually see, oh, that's fast. That's how fast I typed. Okay, it's actually very exciting. Well, let's implement that. Next week maybe. Yeah, next week, and maybe we'll just do it on Zoom, and we'll have a blast playing that game. Okay, on Reddit. I don't think we actually implemented enough of it. Or maybe we did in class, but not on Reddit. Okay, but this time maybe you guys can do it on Reddit too. All right. So how about this? Does anybody have? Oh yeah, inject suspense. All right. Now go to our main. And let's comment out all of the lines. Comment out all of the lines after not all of the lines. No. After get line, after the first get line, after 38. After 38, yeah, comment those guys out. Except make a name. We'll pull it out. Comment out now, and we need make a name. No, we need return also. We need return, and we need new name. We need new name also, and also we need here it be. Okay, so let's say from 48. Yeah, 48. So that part there we just want to replace with our new inject suspense. We've created a function called inject suspense. Yeah, and then after that C out. No, you can put that C out there. Beg your patience. Yeah, and then on the next line, you can say inject suspense for, let's say, five times. Yeah, 5 times. And it's going to print a timer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then after 0, it returns. Yeah. And after it returns, it's going to say, here's your name. I think that is how I see it playing out in my head. Before you run it, everybody play it out in your head and just see if that is the behavior you expect. Yeah. If anything is unclear, you should probably ask and try and, let's figure it out together. Is everybody okay? We'll just run it and find out what the hell goes on. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Hey, Dylan and Kaden, you guys are you still engaged in class? Yeah. Okay. Because I thought you were sleepy. So, it is late in the day. You got to make sure that you're, on top of things. Okay. All right. Great. So let's run it. If nobody has any problems, let's run it. You good, Ian?
What's the /R?
/R is return to the beginning of the line, but not to the next line. So /n is actually split into 2 characters. /n says go to the next line and go to the beginning of the next line. That if you're somewhere on a line and you hit enter, you don't go to just the next line. You go to the next line and go to the beginning of the next line. Yes. Think about a keyboard. You're on a terminal or something like that, right? You chat session, and you type, and then you hit enter. You just go down there, and go to the next line and go to the beginning of the next line. Yes or no? No. When you're in a chat session or something like that, on a keyboard, you're typing something. Yeah, in a document. If you're typing something in a document, if you press enter, what happens? You just go to the next line. Or you go to the next line and also go to the beginning of the next line. Go to the beginning, yes? All right, okay, great. So that going to the beginning of the next line, that is actually hidden from us. Most people don't even see it. Yeah? It has been split into 2 things here. Okay, /n is go to the next line. /r is go to the beginning of whatever line you're on. Now, it doesn't matter which order the 2 come in, because, either I go to the beginning and go to the next line, or go to the next line and go to the beginning. It's 2 corners of a rectangle. Yeah? Good, right? So does everybody understand exactly what, because these are subtle things. And it's easy detail to remember. but bad detail to not know. So we should pick up all of these easy rewards along the way. And this is one of the easy rewards because you can use this to good effect. Lots and lots of places, right? Let's run it now. If everybody's okay with it, we're going to run it. And then 10 minutes of you guys talking to each other, just making sure you can come up with your own version of make a name. Okay. Right. New name and L. Right. So hang on. Where is, oh, yeah. New name. Where is that new name? No, I think we commented it out or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Just put it back. Yeah. Oh, and then we call inject suspense. Okay, good. Yeah. You can play with the code, okay? You can play with the code, shuffle the lines around, see, how things work. All of that is cool. All right. So type in some name. It doesn't have to be Christopher every single time, right? All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Starting timer. Oh, why is it not printing the ... and yeah. Okay. One more thing. We have to do one more thing. Okay. Hit Control C. One. All right. So, all right. Go back to your code. After that, C out, right? Here's the cool thing. We're talking about buffered streams, okay? In Unix-like systems, we're talking about buffered streams. A buffer stream basically says, if you want to send something to the user, talking to the user, humans, is a pain in the ass. So I'm not going to talk to the user as much as you want me to. I'll just hold everything. And it's, inevitable, then I'll go and talk to the person. Okay, that's essentially what a buffered stream is. It tries to minimize talking to humans as much as possible. So it uses two intelligent hacks to figure out when the data does not have to stay in the buffer anymore, when it needs to go. And one of those intelligent hacks is that, is there a new line? If there's a new line, it knows, all right, there's a new line. The human is probably expecting something back, okay? Then it takes everything in the buffer and sends it over. That is one of the buffer flush events. It all happens automatically. Yeah. The other is when you try and read something from the input stream. That is the other thing is also, that also triggers the, the rule system in there. So, all right, okay, well, he's trying to read from the user, which means that, let's make sure that everything they've said to the user has been sent to them already. Okay, two events, that automatically buffer, flush the buffer. But here we're seeing a /r, okay? /r, the buffer looks at it and says, oh, /r, probably they don't need it to be flushed, okay? It's sitting in the buffer. However, we can, C++ tells you, even though it's sitting in the buffer, you can tell it explicitly to flush, okay? And we're going to say after the sleep, before the sleep, okay? After this, yeah, there you go. After the new line, yeah, enter, and say, I think it is cout.flush, okay? cout.flu. I think it's cout.flush. Then someone should look up Google, find out. I think it's cout.flush, flush, and open, close. Yeah, semicolon. Now type and run it now. I think cout.flush. Can someone Google cout space flush and find out what the syntax is for that? Oh, it is cout.flush. It actually compiled. Okay, good. All right, now type something else. Okay, type Isidore. Oh, it's not letting you type, Megan. It's not reading. Can you type Isidore? No, Megan, I can't hear you. Yeah, all right, yeah. There you go. All right. So you see the timer effect? Yeah, because all that's doing is printing. Actually, the funny thing is it'll work just as well on your phone, anywhere, because we're just using a web app. Yes, this is a web app. If you have an iPad or a phone, right? Hey, Raj, is that a phone or an iPad? Oh, it is your laptop. Okay, but you can actually run it on a phone. It'll have exactly the same effect because it's running inside a web app, and it'll look just like. Oh, it is JTJ. Yeah. All right. So it's hard to pronounce, but you can play with techniques and interesting hacks. I added a few hacks at the end, like reverse the name and so on. In fact, I was talking to Panini earlier on today about it, and he said, you can actually submit the code to ChatGPT and say, generate some interesting versions of make a name. I'm pretty sure, he said, there's lots and lots of versions of these. So I'm pretty sure one of the things that you cut will actually be very similar to what ChatGPT comes up to. So don't do it now. So now you pair up with people and come up with your own versions, and when you go home, you can actually feed this entire program into your ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, can you generate some interesting versions of make a name, right? You don't have to tell it anything else. I think that's what Panini tried. Yeah. Right. And then it came up with some very interesting versions, and some of those were ideas that I thought, well, let's do it students today. right? And so don't do it here, but here, is everybody happy with the code so far? Well, not, Dylan, Caden, you happy with the code? You're happy? All right. So, all right, good. Which means that, that means that if someone else is not comfortable, you're going to be assigned to them. Yeah. Is that okay? All right. All right. Spencer, you good? All right. Isidore, Caesar, Eric, good. Yeah. All right. Ian, you're good now. Yeah. Or do you have some more questions? Okay, good. All right. What about Jing? Good. All right. Rebecca, Juliana. Who's Vivian? Is that Vivian? Yeah. You good with the code? All three of you guys? Right? Okay, good. That's all right. Oh, yeah. Brian. Is it Brian?
Yeah.
Hi, so you were sitting here the other day. All right, okay. So you're good with the code too, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Everybody's good with the code. Ian, just make sure that spend about 10 minutes with anyone here. Oh yeah, I forgot to check the online guys. Online, everybody online. Are everybody online good with the code? Yeah. Actually, let me increase the size so that I see more of you guys. Hang on. Is it the max? Hey, Roger. All right. Okay, Charlie. And Zach. All right. You aren't even, and Ben, and yeah, I didn't see most of you guys. And before, he's on the second screen. And yeah, is Justin here? No, he's not here. All right, good. On
Wait,
you
which
good to go
Justin?
to, yes. So nobody needs any help other than yeah. Come pick anyone here, and I think
Wait, did he say my name?
online also, because you're also very close. You're very close. You maybe a couple of issues. I want to make sure that everybody online and in class, everybody's on the same page, because the next thing you're going to do is you're just going to develop your own version of make a name. Okay. And don't, yeah, and it's cool because you're going to develop your own version and carry that idea home with you, and you're going to go to ChatGPT. Even if you don't have a subscription, you can, I think there's an online free service somewhere, right? Just go and say, here's this thing, generate alternative versions of this function, okay? And it'll automatically figure out it's C++ and cut the code for you. But it would be a fun experience to see if your idea is, because it's going to give you like 10 or 15 different versions of make a name. But you can see, you can look at all those versions and see if your idea is one of them, because some of them are simple too. So one of them says, reverse a name and give it to them, right? Yeah, Isidore maybe he's got a name that is, he's got lots of vowels, so you can, Juliana, right? So reverse a name is still pronounceable, right? So, but like Ong and all, I don't think it's, GN is a hard thing to fit in. So, but some of these names you can just reverse and get a nice pronunciation. Yeah, jar, jar, that's so cool. Raj, jar, LL jar. Okay, so that is fun. Okay, cool. All right, so you can that's a fun enough exercise. And then what we'll do is today's Tuesday, right? On Thursday, what we'll do is let's just develop a version of MFA Heaven. Okay, I think we'll just use Erica's name. This is called MFA Heaven, which is basically just, this is a theme of this game. Okay, you can try it at home, play it with your friends, right? Even your family, maybe. Yeah, they'll have fun. You're gonna write a game and work on your phone, because he's gonna be working on one of these sites. Yeah, so you're gonna write a program. All it's gonna do is it's gonna print a number. Okay, first it's gonna do rand. Any step of this is unclear, let me know, because it's all pretty straightforward. Exactly the same. You take this program and hack it. Okay, first generate a random number. Okay, and all you need to do is call srand first in main, so that everybody gets a different random number, and each time you run it, you get a different random. So srand, do we have an srand call here? Yeah, okay, just copy this srand call for now, right? We'll go over the details later on at some point. Okay, right now all we need to do is srand that line is an idiomatic expression of a line that's kind of cool. It just perturbs your random number generator, because it's some static table. But if you keep going to it every time, you get exactly the same sequence. But that call there goes into the random number generator and just flips things around, so that you end up in a random place, and then from there you get a new series of random numbers. And so yeah, you can copy that and put it there. So yeah, first you have to generate a random number, and make sure it's a 6-digit random number. How do you get a 6-digit random number? Can someone tell me how you can get a 6-digit random number? Well, it doesn't have to be all 6 digits. It has to be maximum 6 digits. Okay, because you can have 0 padded. So maximum of 6 digits. How can you get a maximum of 6-digit random number? So someone take a crack at it. Okay, it's super duper simple. Yeah, take a crack at it. Because things like this you'll solve lots and lots of times. Eventually it'll become second nature to you. So you got a big random number and you want a small part of it. So if you have a big number and you want a number between 0 and the length of the vowels, number of vowels in it, what do? You divide by the length of the vowels and take the remainder, because the remainder is guaranteed to be less than whatever you divided by. Yes? So if you want a guaranteed number that is less than 10 to the 6, all you have to do is rand percent 10 to the 6. Well, you don't have to say 10 to the 6 because you don't have to calculate or do any calculations. It's a rand percent 1 0 0 0 0 0 0. All right, here's a trick that I use. Okay, and most of my and I also do when I talk students to the code, anytime they have to type in a number greater than 10,000. Okay, don't type in 0 0 0 0. All right, so I say if you have a number greater than that, like 10,000, even 10,000, I say 10 times 1,000. And the reason I say that is the compiler can take care of it really quickly. It's nothing to a compiler. However, for humans reading the code, it's really, really hard to count the number of ones and number of zeros, O's and L's and so on and so forth, right? So 3, okay, we know it's 1,000. So million is 1,000 times 1,000. And, especially when you go to a billion and so on and so forth, because these numbers, the data types are actually capable of handling large numbers. Yeah, many of these. Because long, ordinary long, you can go all the way up to 4 billion, unsigned, size T. So 4 billion is 4 followed by 9 zeros. And most of the time, we get it wrong. Even if we did want a billion, we may type 8 zeros or 1 extra. So the easier way is to do that. So here, to get a guaranteed number from 0 to whatever that is, all you have to do is divide, the percent by 10 to the 6. Everybody clear on this so far? Yeah. Now, so each of you can hack it your own way. Now remember, that might give you a number between 0 and 9. So there'll be a lot of zero padding. So in MFA, if you give a number, it's 6 digits, but 5 digits are 0, and then you got one number. It's easy to remember, right? And someone else can also spoof it. I don't know, right? So you want to come up with clever hacks to make sure that doesn't happen. So you generate a number and make sure that there's not too many leading zeros. And so all of those things you can come up with, and they can all be part of your function, saying generate a random number, right? So you can have a function that generates a 6-digit random number, returns to you as a string. No, not a string, as a number. So you can compare it. Or you can just say you're going to stick with that number, because what's the probability that you'll get zeros? Lots and lots of leading zeros. So if you take a 6-digit number, you can actually calculate the probability, right? Because a whole lot of numbers will actually have, filling in there. But if you're going to have, leading zeros, you know exactly how many of those numbers there are. So you can say, well, the probability is not low enough for me to, put a hack in there. But I'm just going to, or the version 1 of your program, doesn't matter. It could be, 0, 0, 0, 457. That could be a number 2. Yeah. But the probability of getting a number like that is actually low. So you can actually play with that. And in fact, you can play with the game, have your, friends and relatives play the game. And then as they play the game, you can watch them play the game and then develop an intuition of the kinds of things that will make it better for users, right? Say, hey, you know what? When my brother played it, there's too many leading zeros. So I'm going to hack it before my sister plays it, right? So that leading zero. So you'll find yourself making these tweaks, and each one of those tweaks you make gives you a greater degree of familiarity with the control structures, okay? And we should never mistake it as saying we are making the game better. No, the game is just a byproduct, right? The game is a tool, just like C++ is a tool to help you develop programmatic thinking. It doesn't matter. We could do the whole thing in English too. Yes. So C++ is just a tool to develop an appreciation of algorithmic thinking. And just like that, things you do in this game too, fancy things, and so on and so forth, they're all just ways in which you can learn the subject without feeling too bored about it. So here's one of the things I find about games, not these games, right? Many of these games, even like Fortnite and so on and so forth, addictive, and they take up a lot of your time, just like Netflix and Amazon. Yeah, basically at the end of the day, your time, the hours have evaporated. But sometimes they also give you the illusion, well, maybe it's not even an illusion, of personal betterment. Sometimes you feel personally better after having played a game too, having learned something. But we also always have to put in perspective the yield versus the time spent, because you could have got something worthwhile out of spending 10 hours on the game. But and maybe it was enjoyable, and it's actually double dangerous, because it was not only low efficiency, but the remaining 9 hours were actually enjoyable. So it's a dangerous experience, because not only is it low efficiency, but it's also enjoyable on the whole. as you tend to repeat it. And when you repeat it, you get the same experience. But every time you think it's a new learning. And but that's something you could have learned anyway, without having to express, so much time. So you got to be really, really careful. But so even with these games that you implement, you just have to put them in the right perspective and say it's fun. And the goal of these things is not to create something that is going to make a difference in the world, but it's just going to be an opportunity for me to play with tools and learn more about the tools while doing something that seems fun enough. Because if I were to just teach using slides and programs that just do home-based stuff, regular stuff, it's going to be boring, and it's going to be CS2A is going to be a chore. Yes, because if I had the traditional style of lectures, which I used to do several years ago, and so you got to learn these and so on and so forth, it's going to be a bore, and you're never actually going to go into the depths. Okay, you'll say, well, I know the surface swimming and I know how to survive. Just give me a certificate, right? But if you want to go into the depths of the ocean and find the real pearls, then you need to enjoy water. That means you got to be pushed in sometimes. But once you get used to it, you're just going to go for it, crave for it yourself. And I think the job of the teacher is really keep pushing you, right? Until you start craving it yourself. But after that, my job is done. I don't care, right? Because, you will be after knowledge yourself. You're probably already after knowledge, but I think, but lots of, first year students aren't, okay? Because there's lots of distractions, especially in the first couple of weeks of class. Because everybody's out from, they say, oh, this is time to party because we got like 12 weeks before the final and we got like 4 weeks before the final, I'll start studying, right? That worked for me when I was a student, okay? A great deal of my undergraduate, study, I was partying and only studying for much shorter time than I could really have, right? But you only realize that later, and that's a mistake that I made, but you don't have to make it, right? You can have a much more efficient way of absorbing these things. You don't have to cram and then wait after a while to let it permeate and all. You can take things at the right pace. And so don't take it easy the first few weeks, okay? Because right now students are also dropping class. But I'm actually happy that in this class people haven't dropped. I was actually, yesterday I was looking at the questing scores, and I thought a lot of people didn't even submit, and maybe they're gonna drop class or something. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, maybe this this class could get canceled because there's not enough students. But this morning when I went, strangely enough, lots of people had actually gone in and submitted. But I think I found it because it's the first few quests. Lots of people had actually previously submitted because I'd seen them come in. Many of them were anonymous because they forgot to put a student ID altogether. Many of them were submitting with Reddit student IDs. The student ID : Reddit handle. And so they couldn't see it on the /Q site, and the Canvas, when I imported it, blanks for lots of people. And then I was really, really worried. That's why I sent all those messages, 4 postings, 4 announcements for me this morning. I was looking at it and said, this is crazy. I've never seen. And then I made these announcements. But after that, lots of people submitted. Hey, Dylan, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question about plus one. Was plus one like did
Hmm?
for some reason? Does plus one like I did it?
Yeah. October 1st. Everything gets deleted on October 1st. Someone else asked me the same question. Was it Jonah? Was it
I
you?
didn't ask you,
No,
but
maybe
I-
Raj.
No.
Today, someone said everything is gone. Vanessa, was it? No, not Vanessa. Helen, was it you? Yeah, Isidore. Okay. Yeah, Isidore. Oh, you have a question? No. All right. Okay. Here's what I think what's going on. Okay. I think I know what's going on. I have this link called your workbook is the Enquestopedia. Yes. And then some people are looking at the Enquestopedia, which is like a big book and like 300 pages, and saying the first 80 pages are for CS2A. That's why I said in the syllabus, maybe I should just take it out completely, is that this is just a guide for the Genius Bootcamp guys, right? There it says Quester ID and Reddit handle. But for Foothill, you got to get the spec from the questing site. So when you enter the password, each spec is given to you separately and slightly different. No, not very different. All the quests are the same. The language is slightly different. Like instead of Quester ID, it'll say student ID. Yeah. I'm pretty sure if you enter the password now, I'm pretty sure you'll.
Like we don't. So like for me, I don't have that front canvas. I just resubmit it.
Yeah, just resubmit it with the student ID. That's all I think. That no major changes. I don't think there are any major changes. Just student ID and so on and so forth. So you can just resubmit everything with your student ID. Lots of people have done it today, and I picked up this course. Okay, so that's really cool. So, all right, okay. So, hey, Ian, you want to get into a breakout room? Anybody, right? Or you want to just get together with anyone in class? 10 minutes, okay? And just make sure pointed lines that you want more clarification on, and say they'll just explain it. And you can also ask the same question with multiple people, so you get multiple perspectives. At the end of 10 minutes, everybody should be comfortable enough so that you are going to develop your own version of make a name, any idea you want. Okay, let's say 15 minutes for that. Okay, what time is it now? 7:10, right? So it's 7:10, 15 minutes, okay, until 7:30. Yeah, all right, 7:30 until, and then you develop your own version of make a name. And then after that, you're going to share the URL with the person opposite you, right? Or maybe even across the room, right? So that, you know, maybe Vivian and Rod and Dylan and all right, so certainly not, you know, you develop the URLs and then random people will get your URL. Okay, you tell me what it is and I'll say send your URL to Julie and us, something like that. Yeah. Okay, so so we'll make sure that everybody, and if you have any questions about anything, you should be able to ask anyone, not just now, right? Like Ian has maybe some questions to just button up the final bits of this program. Yeah, so 10 minutes for that, not more than that. Is that enough? Okay, so 10 minutes, just wander around, make sure, you know, during the 10 minutes, the other people can start working on your make a name too. Right? If you have any questions, if you need any help, ask me, anybody on here. Okay, anybody who already knows what the hell is going on. Christopher too, right? So yeah, there's lots of people. He's yawning. Okay, so give him some work. So I'm talking, so I don't have, you know, I don't have that problem. So, but certainly, all right. So ask any of these questions, and we'll be happy to answer. Okay, I'm trying to sit down here, but I'll be invisible on the camera. Okay, so all right, that's all, and then we'll come back. All right, and we'll try and implement the first version of. What was that? MFA. Yeah, we'll do the first version of MFA Evan here. Right, if you want me to. Do you want me to? We'll have time, right? Between 7:30 and 7:50. We'll be able to implement the first version. It's really simple. I'll just walk you through the code. I think it's like 15 lines maybe. Yeah, I think it'll be 15 lines, okay? I think it'll be 15 lines or less. 10 lines maybe even. Right? It's super duper simple. And then we'll post it on Reddit and say, this is my version. And you can have your own version too, and you know, change it and so on. It's going to be really fun. Okay, you know, when I say it's going to be really fun, it's a stupid thing to say, right? You never invite someone to a party and say, all right, you got to have fun here. Okay, so it's got to be fun. So I shouldn't be telling you it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. This C++ actually is naturally fun. Okay, so but why am I saying this? It's just that I want you to see it. Yeah, I just want you to see it because there's a chance that you may not see it. I think that's what I think. There's lots of students I see who just go through the course, but they miss the fun part of it. Okay, they just go through and say, all right, I've got the certificate. But if you see the fun, you know, all of college life will be actually, you know, fantastic, I think. All right, okay. 10 minutes now. Is that okay? I'm just going to wander around. Okay, I'm not going to be in front of the camera. I'm going to wander around. Is everybody good? Okay, Justin, you good? You good so far? So Justin, Brian, I think you're good. Kira, you good? You good? Yeah. Hey, Kira, there's behind you. Is it a black screen behind you? Is there a painting or something behind you?
No, I'm just outside.
Oh, you're outside. Okay.
Sorry.
But you know, before it seemed like there was a black screen, but there was also a ghost behind you or something like that. Yeah. All right. Okay. Invisible. Yeah. All right. Okay. Cool. Oh, that's actually green trees. It actually, yeah. For my eyes, it looks like it's, you know. Yeah. All right. Okay. Everybody good? Kiao, you good? Okay. Eric is good, I think. Raj and Ajay is good. All right. All right. Dylan. Angelos, you good?
Hello, Professor.
You guys switching your camera, okay? Now, you know, been saying that. Is that
I don't have a camera. That's why my.
Oh, you don't have a camera. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
but I have my
Is
mic
that a
on.
Halo or something? Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Caesar, are you good? All right.
Say that again. Sorry.
Oh, you have a question, Angelo?
I would like to have a partner just.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. Great. So, so the next 10 minutes, basically, you're just going to say, pick anyone here who's able to help. You can actually put a question in the chat saying, hey, I have some questions. Can someone get into a breakout room with me? And you know, two people get together and we just go into a breakout room. Okay. I think it should be automatic. If not, just let me know and I'll just put the two of you in a breakout room. Okay. All right. So Ian is going to find someone. Ben, you good? All right. Megan, you type most of the code. You good? And your camera's off center too, right? And then Akash, you're good too. Yeah. All right, great. Where is it? Oh, Sahil. Yeah, I never asked you. So yeah. Right. Are you good? So you have a question too?
Yeah, so Professor, I finished quest 1 and 2, but for the student ID, I put my Reddit username. Are we
You can't
supposed to
put your
put our
Reddit
Reddit
username.
username?
Yeah. Right. Sahil, I think I responded to this, and not just you, 2 or 3 other students. Okay. They didn't get their scores because they put their Reddit username. Just don't put your Reddit username. Just put your, student ID. Yeah.
Oh, so can I resubmit?
Yeah. Just resubmit and let me know. Just send me an email saying I used my student ID. Yeah.
Okay,
Charlie, are you
thanks.
good? I never asked you. Yeah. Okay. All right. Roger, you good too? Yeah. All right. Great. Zach. All right. Okay. Great. Hey, by the way, Sahil, you should switch on your camera unless you don't have a camera either. Hey, Ian, and also who was the other person? Sahil, and there's one more person who wanted. Yeah, and just post in the chat. Okay, or just speak up saying, hey, I need some help. Can someone get into a breakout room with me? And how do I set up breakout rooms? Do I need to set it up myself?
Yeah, it should be at the bottom. There should be just four squares, go a little bit more to the left.
Where is it?
Bottom middle.
Bottom middle.
No more right.
Oh yeah, all right. Thank you so much. This is getting used as a mouse itself is quite hard. Assign automatically. Does it actually create automatically? All right, we need 3 breakout rooms. Yes. You just go to one. All of you go to one, and then you can. How about all of you go to the same breakout room, right? Ian, and then up to you. All right, I'm going to create 2, but you can just go.
Wait, you probably let the bottom option, but
I should do one.
the bottom option where it says let text should.
Oh, I see. What does assign automatically do?
That means I have access.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that might be like randomly. It might be
Oh, it's just randomly. Okay, I see.
And manually, it's you doing yourself.
I see. Okay, all right. That's great. Never used, I used it once, but it wasn't recording, so I didn't do it. Open all rooms. All right, great. Oh, manually means I have to assign. So I thought we said let participants choose, didn't we? Participants. Yeah, you can choose. All right. All right. Good. All right. So how about 10 minutes? Okay. How about 10 minutes? All right. Set a timer for 10 minutes. All right. So 10 minutes. Okay. So in 10 minutes, we'll just when the timer goes off, I will say we're just going to do a demo for 5 minutes. Okay. So you just share your URL with the other person, and you're gonna packing up ready to go.
Shut down on a certain date, so I'll just.
Yeah. Well, all right. No problem. Okay. All right. That's fine. Wait. Yeah. Put the chair back. All right. See you on Thursday. You're coming back, right? All right. Okay. See you.
Because I mean, that's it.
People can start working on their own versions of making it already, right? Because the 10 minutes when other people are.
That's exactly.
Right.
Oh, you just.
So I don't need to open this window.
I see. Yeah. Oh, okay. I know we won't. Okay, okay. So basically the user outputs your name, and then this is, and that's the parameter. It's gonna be using this. Yeah, exactly. You know, Chris, that's where I usually because they have chairs and then valves you just sit. That's fine. So I'm thinking yeah, because those are your own and then you do it. So size. Yeah. Because I know, like, so if you did, if you did name dot size, then it would return whatever. Yeah, that's this thing. What is size? It's a data. It's a non-size. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's like your version. I see. Okay, okay. So basically, oh, it is. Mhm. Yep, yep. Yep. Oh, I see, I see. Well, what would it do? Shift each character and then reverse it. Oh, I see. So cadence. No, but it's not. Yep. Oh, I see. C became D. I see. That's really cool. Yeah, right. You know, the cool thing is that your version is very so even if you share the URL with someone else, they won't be able to see your logic because you have to scroll the logic at the bottom. So the only way they can do is they run it and then they see the effect. Understood. Okay, so then he's basically saying. That's cool. Kind of progress through like each individual letter. You good? Yeah, just kind of iterate through that. Yeah, that's a good one. And also, you know, you have this. You can also say, yeah, string name and then just sign it. So it'll compile. Yeah. Say, you know, just say,
And then it's saying,
string name,
okay,
string,
we're indexing
string name.
right? So then this, he's
No,
saying
no,
there's a
yeah,
space,
that was right.
or there's a slash.
Inside.
What is continue?
Just, you say string name,
Then we'll go basically.
and then enter, a couple enter,
Uh-huh.
semicolon, yeah, enter.
So-
Enter 30%. That's fine. So then it's a, you know, it'll compile. It won't compile, it won't complain. Now you can fill in the logic.
Slash. Yes.
Yeah, go on.
Jumping back. Jumping back.
Oh,
Okay, so let's say you did
Continuous,
your name,
go
like
back
my first name.
Oh. Yeah, so basically, we skip everything. Like, it's just
Basically, if you had a space in
like-
between,
Right.
it will have
You
already
can say
fixed
that.
this. But now it's gonna skip.
Yeah, guys, hang on, let's read it.
So then it's gonna. I see, okay, got it.
No, see this way, you have a semicolon. Why do you mislead? Because you haven't used it.
I got it, that makes sense, that makes sense, because you want to re-index the M to zero position.
So I.
Oh.
Yeah, you can take time, right? So don't worry.
Okay.
After the 10 minutes, so you can, take time.
I see.
And there are people here who can help, okay? So lots of people who can give you ideas too. What about, you know, the online folks? Are they still here? I think lots of people have taken off, maybe.
Yeah, some people have gone. Like I know Helen left. We had more people before.
They might be in the breakout room.
Yeah, maybe they're in the breakout room. Yeah.
Okay, so then. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's just a way to loop back.
Oh
to
wow.
the beginning of the alphabet, otherwise it go on to something.
I don't know how to read this yet, but how do I know? How do I enter? Oh, I have to enter the room to find out how many people are. We'll start whenever people are ready. No hurry, okay? I think we're good on time. In fact, on Thursday, we can still work on this program on Thursday and work on more ideas, more versions of these programs, okay? More, you know, interesting things. We can do all that.
Yeah.
Okay, time's actually up, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, all right. So yeah, we continue to work on it on Thursday. And we just want to take one step at a time, and slowly keep making this more and more sophisticated so that at the end we have something that is really cool. And you've built it up in little steps.
That's kind of where.
But at the end you think it's, you know, it's really cool. It's really cool. All right. Okay. All right. So is everybody okay with this? You know, yeah, the timer's gone off, which means right now we have about 10 minutes. Okay. 10 minutes to 7. Well, let's say 7:35. 10 minutes, implement your own idea. 10 minutes, implement your own idea for Make a Name. And then you are going to share your URL, okay? I've already seen, you know, but you know, I shouldn't be able to, I shouldn't be seeing these things, okay? You got to share it with your friends. How about this? How about this? How about someone create a, how about this, okay? How about it? All right, I'm going to create maybe a Reddit, no, not a Reddit post. I'm just going to create a share my screen, online GDB. Someone share a screen, online GDB, as one big comment, and people are just going to paste their URLs in there. That's all. Okay, but it's not, they won't be turned into hot links. We want them to, you know, students to just be able to click on, you know, let's say Brian's link, bam, like that, and play his game. How do we do this? A document which contains all of them, all of the links of the students. That'll be fun. You got to share the link somehow, okay? Maybe share the links on chat for now, right? Just share the links on chat. And then we'll take a copy of all the links in the chat, and then I'll put it in a Reddit post. How about that? Yeah, just copy your URL when you've got your own make a name, and make sure your make a name is at the bottom after all of the other make a names that have been commented out, so that when you send the URL to someone and they click on it, they won't see the logic, because your logic is down, they got to scroll down to see your code. So they'll have to run it and see the behavior of the program before they look at the code and say, oh, this is what it's going to do. Yeah, right? It'll be much more interesting and suspenseful that way. Okay, so put your code at the very end of what's already there, and then you have a URL by clicking a orange thing at the top. Share URL, get that URL, paste it in the chat window. Okay, I'm going to go to the chat window. This is the first time we're actually using the chat window here in all the years I've been teaching in Zoom. Right, so I'm going to say paste your name making online GDB. You can also use cpp.sh if you want. Or there's another one I think we used to use before, Replit, repl.it. There's actually Panini pointed out to me that people are still using it. But the only thing is, I think it's repl.it, right? The only thing is I found that 2 years ago when we were using it, all of a sudden they started using authentication and login. It means you got to create an account and login. Even if it's just giving them your email address, it's a pain, isn't it? Just to create an account in order to use something so simple like an online compiler. So we stopped using that. But it's still, if you are able to create an account and use it, because there's so many places. I think Oliver last quarter or 2 quarters ago pointed to a site called GitLab or something, which does a whole lot more than these guys. They maintain your code, they version it. All of these things are available for free. Free meaning, what free means, right? Because you got to disclose some information. But it's possible, right? So I'm going to hit the thing here, right? Paste, right? So when you're done, just paste your URL there. Okay, online GDB. Go to online GDB, and you have that orange button on the top. Click that, get your share URL, paste it there. So when people have got it, anyone can click on anyone's, right? Yeah, maybe after pasting, you put your name. No, you don't have to put your name. Yeah, because it'll say what your name is, right? Shared by Spencer URL, shared by, Isidore, Juliana. Everyone gets their own, Actually, Ian's still on this, okay? But I'm pretty sure they'll get there by the end of class, or at least by Thursday, okay? Everybody okay? Implementing your own and paste your URLs, okay? So maybe that list should have at least 10 people saying, hey, here's. Sahil, you good now? Or you in a breakout room? Or you're not in a breakout room? Was it Sahil who wanted help? Was it Sahil? Sahil, you are the one who wanted help, yes?
No.
You're good? You're good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm practicing.
I wanted help for some reason. Okay, so. I see a bunch of people are in the breakout rooms. There should be a way. Maybe I can enter a breakout room. What happens when you enter a breakout room? Just do Zoom rooms 2. Where are the rooms? Oh, room 1, room 2. Oh, there are 2 rooms and there's only 2 people in each.
You could try and close out the breakout rooms, and then that would bring them back.
Oh, I see. No, but they're talking. If they're done, they'll come back. But I think you guys need some time to create your own versions. Yeah. Anyway, make a name. It doesn't matter if you don't get it done by today. Okay, you still do. You can play with it at home, and then Thursday we can start class with all the URLs from you guys, and maybe we can have a Reddit post with all the URLs too. Right? Click on it and play it. That'll be fun. We can do that on Thursday too. We're good on time. Okay, because this week is week 3. Typically, I tend to cover looping, right? Branching and looping together. So on Tuesdays, I do branching statements, which is strangely enough includes switch case, ternary operators. But imagine, it's totally useless, isn't it? Saying in 1 hour or 2 hours, saying different ways. This is switch
Professor,
case.
where did you go?
I'm sorry, okay? Yeah. I'm sorry, I moved away. But yeah, I'm saying, one lecture, if I just tell you these are the different branching operators, I might as well just not say anything at all. I think it's totally useless. That's why even if you learn one operator, getting to the bottom of it, but you have to learn it anyway. That's what I mean. So we'll only introduce one, and then when you go home, you try lots and lots of different ways of doing the same thing with different branching operators. So that's on Tuesday. That's budgeted for today. Thursday, what I usually teach in week 3 is looping, right? Do for statements, different ways of doing for statements, while statements, plus operator, right? What the effect of that is, all of that takes a lot of experimentation. Now I can tell you, this is what it does, right? If you put the pluses there, that's what's going to happen. How would you ever, know what the hell is going on? The only way to know what plus does is actually try and use it. So you're going to be doing that a lot with loops for today, week 3, week 4. One more week, okay? Week 5. Yeah, you got 2 more weeks before the midterm. But these are all going to be tested in your midterm. If you wait until your midterm, saying, well, the week before the midterm, I'm going to learn the distinction between plus on this side and that side. It doesn't work. So you got to be trying that now, so that before the week of the week of the midterm, or the week before that, you can focus on things that need that automatically. Need that already to be internalized by you. If you wait until then to be internalized, because if you just read about it then, it'll take 2 or 3 days for you to sink in. You can't just read about it 2 or 3 days before the midterm. Then you won't be able to use the other things later. So do it now. These are all opportunities for you. These games, all these things that we're developing, and we're only going to do one way of doing it, one way in class. I'll just toss out some ideas. You're going to be doing it in different ways. Share the URLs. And I'm going to collect these lists of URLs and put them in Reddit posts saying, oh, these are all the things developed by CS2A students. Yeah. From Zoom chats or email to me, whatever it is. Or you just make a Reddit post saying, I tried it. Here it is. Okay. Footle flat. So, or you may use a keyword saying, hey, make a name by Spencer. Yeah. And people can actually go to Reddit and say, oh, show me all the make a names, right? Bunch of lists, and they can click on the URLs and play it. I think it'd be easier in one document, but never mind. We'll try it and do it that way. Okay. Right. So that's what you got to do. We're going to do that. And next week we'll cover functions and parameter. No, I think what we'll do next week is cover arrays. Okay. We're going to cover arrays and vectors. Okay. Arrays and vectors first next week, not Thursday. Thursday, we're still going to do looping and all, right? We'll go over these things. Do you feel it's a little too rapid? But array, it is actually scheduled, right? Next week is what generally I go into arrays. People haven't complained about it in the past, but maybe because we're doing it in different format, it feels a bit rushed. Does it feel a bit rushed? Because we're marching into arrays next week. Next week we'll talk about arrays and vectors. Okay, arrays and vectors, really, really powerful. First real data structure you're going to use. Other than simple variables, you use arrays and vectors. And I actually had something very interesting to talk about arrays and vectors today, but I forgot. But maybe it'll come to me next time, right? We're actually talking about next week. We're talking about arrays and vectors. We'll do that. Really, really powerful data structures, okay? In fact, the most, right? When people want to use, build algorithms, and if they can do it with vectors, they're like super duper happy most of the time. Because they don't have to build lots of stuff. It's just off the shelf and you can just use it. And fastest access times too. Getting to an element on the vector. Unless you wanted to transform the vector, we'll learn about these things later on in 2B and 2C. Transforming the vector, shuffling the items in a particular way, that takes time. But if you don't access things, bam, bam, like that, it's really fast, almost like a hash table. Yeah, so we'll learn about vectors, okay? You're going to be living with vectors all of your programming life, all of your, right? So that's why, very early in your career as, a C++ programmer, we introduce vectors. Once you know about vectors, you'll tend to use it a lot of places, okay? So we'll do that next week. And then week 5, we'll talk about functions more in depth, okay? I'll talk about exactly what happens when we invoke a function. Very similar to what we talked about already, stack, and then return addresses, and so on and so forth. You'll know exactly what the hell goes on when a call statement happens, okay? That's all you need, really. At the end of next week, when we talk about vectors, you're already set up, I think, in my opinion, to solve complex problems. Because technically, you can solve any problem using just Turing machine, yes? You don't need anything more than ones and zeros to solve any problem. It may take a long time, but you'll solve it because it's a Turing machine. A computer, what is a computer? A computer is just a sophisticated Turing machine that implements a Turing algorithm in really, really fast time. than it'll take you to move a ticker tape. Yes. But theoretically, hypothetically, it's just a Turing machine. I don't know, you learn all these in the theory of computer science. Later on, when you major in computer science, you can pick these, I think I don't know what it's called. It's theoretical computer science. But essentially, that's what it is. What is a computer at the end of the day? So I don't know how we got started talking about that. Yeah, you'll implement those things. Yeah, vector. That is the first data structure you'll implement. Yeah, functions. Yeah, functions. Next week I'll talk about functions. No, arrays, and then the week after that we'll talk about functions. Okay, and then I think that's enough. We won't talk about objects for the final and for the midterm. Okay, for the midterm, everything that we cover, starting with hexadecimals and bits and bytes, all the way up to and including functions, but not objects. Okay, objects and later that will come after week 6. But we'll do up to functions. That is week 5 will be in the midterm, and all of these things that we're talking about and more will be tested. Okay, that's why I say everything we do in class, go home. And then, maybe you showed it to your sister one way. Okay, maybe before you show it to your mom or dad or your cousin or someone else, don't show the same thing. Right? You say, well, I already showed it to this person this way. I'm going to change it and show it to that person. That way you get many perspectives on your own code. And say, I implement it this way. I want the same behavior, but different implementation. That's another way to do it too, right? You got to find opportunities to do the same thing in different ways. And these are things that, you can say are, basically lubricating your process to acquiring these things. Because if it was just on a whiteboard, it's going to be harder. Eventually you'll learn it. You'll go to Google, Wikipedia and Google and find out these concepts. Maybe you'll learn it at work with, colleagues watching over, or your boss telling you got to learn it by tomorrow. So all of those, maybe you learn it under stress. Maybe you learn it under, no stress at all, different situations. But here you have an opportunity to learn it in a supportive environment. So just go all in. And I think, yeah, if you just, yeah, I think you do that, and yeah, next after the midterm it'll be cool. Okay, so we'll do objects, and I think we'll have scope for implementing more interesting things too. Yeah, and the whole idea of doing these interesting things is just to give you hooks. Okay, not to say this is something that you should know. At the end of the day, I'm not going to test you. All right, what did we do in line 15 of the make and name a function? Right? What kind of stupid question would that be in a midterm? Yeah. However, I may ask you. Well, if that if statement was written in the form of a ternary operator, which one of the four following constructs, right? A, B, and C, and D, which one of them is the same as the if statement? All right. But that you'll get only if you've taken that program that you've written in class and say, well, you know what, I'm going to show it to, a different relative. So I'm going to change it to use a ternary operator. Then you get a chance to play with something that you are familiar with and already know and you find interesting. Okay. So you should relish these chances to learn things using something that you already know and find fun, as opposed to saying, you got to learn these things by tomorrow. I'm going to test you. Okay. You still have to learn it, but it's going to be more painful. So if you, appreciate it and be grateful for it, not to me, right? Just be grateful things turned out this way, that you have an opportunity to do something by, experimenting on something that is already fun for you. And if you get an opportunity, you should just jump at it. Okay. So take these functions that we write and try and use all of the concepts. Now, by the way, you can go through the book. Okay, go through the book. Absolute C++. Yeah, it gives you all of the concepts, all of the constructs that you should know. But Michael also produced a list of distillation, which is essential things, because the book is really thick, and you don't really need to know all of that. But I think the book was written a long time ago when many people didn't have. I think it is intended for audiences who don't know anything about computer science. That's why it's so fat. So it goes into a lot of detail. But for many people who already know a little bit about computer science, fat books are really an encumbrance, like in video games, because you got to flip through lots and lots of pages. Let's say scrolling through a large document. So I think the modules prepared by one of the ex-profs is good, but I may actually make them inaccessible at some point, because I understand that it's actually been sold to Foothill, and maybe we're not allowed to use it just like willy-nilly like that. I'll find out, but they may go away. But you can just Google for the most important control structures to know in C++. Okay, and I'm pretty sure you'll come up with a bunch of hits. How do you make sense of which ones are good? All right. All right, you can ask someone. You're raised in Silicon Valley, so ask one of your, if you have people in your family or your network who are in computer science, you can ask them, right? This is a bunch of Google hits. Which one should I follow? If you don't, just ask in the Reddit forums. Right? There's so many people here who all know what's going on. Okay, Chris has done all of the 27 quests. Doing blue quests, maybe you don't appreciate yet how difficult it is to get through red. Okay, red is really, really difficult to get through, but you will feel really totally accomplished when you get through red, if you do get through red. Okay, I think technically lots of people do complete it. Maybe 50, maybe 25 to 50% of the people who attempt red complete it. Okay, meaning meaning they get all of the right, but only I think 2 or 3% go all the way and get all of the trophies. Being a red dog, it's very few students who do that, but it's actually great to do that. Okay, and I would encourage every one of you to do that whenever you get the opportunity. Just noodle away after you're done, and do the red. But if there are people who have completed red in this class, okay, and so they'll all be able to help you with different ways of doing things, even on the forum. Even Namrata, for example, is questing in red herself. She still finds time. I look, right, even though she's one of the organizers of the boot camp, but she's still a student herself, right? And it's also the first couple of weeks at UCs, and she's going to be busy like you guys, right? But she's still finding time to go into the boot camp and answer your questions. People ask questions, even in 2B, ask questions, and you find answers from Chris, Namrata, and all these other people. They're all taking time. They know what the hell is going on, and they are willing to help. And you are going to be helping too yourself, right? When you're doing blue and green and red, you will find that you are yourself, find fulfilling to look at people who are questing in blue and say, hey, I know that's why you're getting that. What is that thing called? Ran out of patience message or something like that, right? Or time exceeded, killed or something like that. You'll be able to say, hey, that's why you're doing it, right? You won't give the answer away, but you'll probably say, hey, you're using recursion without using memoization or something like that, right? Which is a very cryptic, but at the same time, interesting clue, saying, hey, that is why it's not working, because I'm using recursion, which just keeps going exponential. I don't know. I shouldn't talk more about this because it's question number 4. I think it's question number 4. Hey, some of you have gone to question number 4. Yeah. And I know that you've done the Fibonacci sequence generator. But when you do that, you'll realize, okay, hey, there's many ways I can do it, but there's one way that's inefficient. In fact, we can even get a chance to talk about that in class at some point. Maybe in week 11, okay? When we talk about week 11, when we talk about recursion, it is part of CS2A, but I don't really focus on it. This 2B is really where you get into recursion and so on. This recursion can be hugely inefficient. If you're solving the same problem over and over again, is inefficient. That's why dynamic programming is a word that you'll use, a term that you'll use a lot, right? I mean, you see used a lot by a lot of people. Dynamic programming, it's basically saying you're going to be doing the same thing over and over again. Just store the result after you do the first time. It's called table driven. So if you can recognize that the parameters are exactly the same, and you have idempotent operations, you can calculate something and store it. And as long as your sub-solution areas don't overlap, you won't recompute anything. So your maximum efficiency is got, but just storing, calculating and storing, and you don't overlap. I don't know. All of this will make a whole lot more sense in week 11. Okay, we talk about that, and then you also understand what is dynamic programming. When you go to Lead Code and say, give me a bunch of dynamic programming problems, you'll actually be able to see that and say, hey, that's what's going on. But right now it's just like magic words, buzzwords that people throw around. But at the end of the day, at the end of this class, at least, you'll be totally comfortable with all of these concepts. Okay, you stick with this all the way up to week 12. All of the material. Read the modules for now, okay? At least for now, they're available. So they're linked in from the syllabus. You can click on them, read the modules. I'm pretty sure this quarter, there's not going to be any problems with that. But that has got all the list of topics that we're going to cover. And I think we're covering exactly the same list of topics, exactly the same. I haven't diverged at all, even though I didn't want to, or wasn't planning to do anything special. I haven't diverged, right? We're covering branching statements and so on and so forth, and functions. Everything happens at the right places in the modules, the same way that it was taught a long time ago. So we're doing that. But along the way, we'll cover as many interesting topics as possible, right? So I'm actually having a great deal of fun. Okay, hey, there's a bunch of people in breakout rooms. Have they joined us? Because it's end of class and people have to go. Maybe I should close all the rooms. Okay, are people in the rooms? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe Ben is still talking to you again. All right. Well, you know what? All right. Those people can talk. They can watch the video. I'm not going to close the rooms. All right. So I actually don't have anything special to say other than that. So if you don't have any questions, here's what you're gonna do, right? And again, after the class, I go back and tomorrow I'll look at the Reddit, maybe, right? I'm hoping tomorrow when I look at the Reddit, hey, there's gonna be interesting posts made by students in today's lecture. That's what I'm hoping, right? Tomorrow morning when I look at the Reddit, I say, hey, it's going to be interesting post because people have been experimenting with different things. They're going to be sharing links. But, I say 1 or 2 posts, 3 posts sometimes. Yeah, okay, it's not too bad. Okay, but ideally, I want to see more. I'm pretty sure your classmates also want to see more. Yeah, so please share more on the forums, especially links of programs. I know Dylan and Caden have got these programs, but you haven't shared them yet. Yes, so share them all on Reddit. Okay, on Reddit, and say, hey, folks, go and take a look. Okay, and more of you should share. Okay, that's all I had to say. I think we're end of class today, and we were right on time. So I'm happy that all of you guys, here. Helen had to go because of an emergency, but otherwise, I hope you all. Was this class useful to you? Did you guys have an opportunity? Because I know you guys have gone ahead a few quests, so some of this might be very, yeah, okay. So I just want to make sure that it's not boring for anyone. Okay, if it's boring, just come and talk to us. Maybe Chris or me or anyone here. And we'll, say, hey, you don't have to pay attention to everything I say. Here's a new problem. You can work on this. Yeah. Like, I can just set you up with a small thing and you can just work on it. Maybe it's in a group too. That's okay. So don't feel bored. Anybody who's feel bored, just talk to me, right? Even in chat, even on Zoom, like Megan, if you're feeling bored, you can just say, hey, let someone else work on it. I'll talk to you. You can just say let someone work. I want to do something else, right? You can just say that. If anybody feels like that, you can say, and I can find something that is interesting at the level that you want. Okay, if you're already familiar with objects and so on. Well, ideally, I want everybody to be on the same page. Okay. All right. Well, hey, let's forget I said that. Okay. So we'll just say, ideally, everybody should be on the same page. But if you want something different, I can find a different problem for you with on the same page, but maybe slightly different constructs, a little bit more challenges for you. Okay. So I'm absolutely confident I can find these things for you. All right. As long as you all had a great time, I'm very happy to see all of you back in class. Okay. And after census date, you haven't dropped class. And that is like a huge plus for me. Okay. Because your census date is when we take count of all the students and say, hey, so many students dropped class. But this time, no, not many. Okay. There's a few drops. Okay. That's okay. This is you expected. So thank you all. Thank you all for sticking with the class. And I'm hoping to see all of you all the way through to the end of class and make things really cool. Kick-ass stuff. It's possible to do it. Okay. If you set your mind to it and I can show you how to do it, you can do kick-ass stuff. Okay. So at some point, I'll show you some, code that Chris developed when he was a student of a cube spinning in an ASCII terminal. Okay. It's actually a really cool effect, right? It's just an ASCII terminal and it's a cube spinning in air. So I'll show you that. Yeah. And he did that when he was a student like you guys. Okay.
Hey, Professor.
All right. Thank you all so much. Okay. I'll see you guys on Thursday.
Professor.
Yeah, Akash, yeah.
Yeah, can I send you my online GDB in a second? I'm still working.
You want to share your screen? You want to share your screen?
Sure, I can share my screen. I'm still working on it. I'm just like running into issues that I kind of want to solve it on my own, and then I'll get back to you.
One sec, okay? 1 sec, I can't hear you. Why is it I can't hear you? Why is your audio is coming from that speaker? Oh, so that means I should be able to control it from here.
That's weird.
Yeah, hey, one sec. Yeah, I'm just figuring out the volume button. Up volume. Where the hell is the up volume? Oh, there it is. Hey, can you say something now, Akash?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, that's much better. That's much better. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, is it possible if I can just like finish this? Like, I have a really great idea. I'm working on it, but I want to get it done on my own. And I know
yeah, totally. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You want to share it now, or do you want to share it on Reddit later after you've done it?
Can I share it with you after I finish it? I feel like I know how to fit it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, you can share it. You're saying after, not now.
After, not now. Like, how can I send it to you after?
Oh, totally fine with me. Okay, I'll look forward to it.
Yeah, how do I send it to you?
Oh, you know what? Just make a, like Dylan and Caden are doing. Just make a post on Reddit saying, "Here's something I did." Oh, if you want me to look at it before. You want me to look at it before?
No, I can just post it on Reddit.
Yeah, post it on Reddit like these guys are doing, and say, "Hey, this is Akash's version of a name changer."
Okay, I'll do that then.
Yeah, that'll be fun because people can look, try different people's versions.
All along, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks.
See you on day after tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.